Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com. Tragedy in Houston after a child drowned in a hotel pool. What we know this evening. A 5-year-old boy is among one of the victims from Friday's school bus crash in Bastrop County. And UHV announces they'll be cutting staff. 25 News now has learned they'll be giving 30-day notices.
We had some light rain this morning. It was a very thin band that came through, but that's all pretty much gone. And now we're looking at some sunny skies and some very comfortable weather. We'll take a look at your Easter week, work week, coming up in just a moment.
And March Madness on full display last night. We also got some district golf going on over at Riverside. I'll have all that coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Karina Garcia has the night off. 25 News Now has learned the University of Houston Victoria is cutting back on staff with 30-day notices. We learned UHV President Bob Glenn is taking a % pay cut from March through August, and the Vice President is taking a 5% reduction in pay. We reached out to UHV. The institution said it will send out a press release Tuesday. Victoria County Commissioners appointed a new public defender. Brian Watson was named Chief Public Defender for Victoria County. He'll also service Lavaca, Jackson, and Refugio counties. The role of the public defender is to provide legal counsel for defendants who cannot afford legal representation. Watson says the role of a public defender is also to continue serving clients after the trial is over. Watson's first day on the job is April 22nd. An 18-wheeler overturned on U.S. Highway 59 northbound just before FM 444 near Inez this afternoon. Both lanes were shut down for northbound traffic. Traffic was diverted to Garcitas Creek Road. The highway was expected to be shut down for about 3 hours for northbound traffic. U.S. Representative District 27 Michael Cloud put out a statement on why he voted against the Minibus Act. He said, quote, "If the vast majority of taxpayers were truly given time to learn what is in this bill, they would rightly be furious. At some point, those who call themselves conservatives are going to have to stand up. I fear we are running out of time," unquote. And now let's take a first look at your forecast. Here's First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis. And Mac, we got some more rain this morning.
Yes, we did. It was not a big amount, but we did get a little light shower activity. You can see it right about there coming right through the city. All that is now all the way out there in Louisiana. It's pretty much over, but now we've got northerly winds, drier winds, and we've got some cooler temperatures. All this out here west of us, well, that's high fire danger because of the low humidity that we're going to have. We'll take a look at your entire Easter week coming up in a moment.
Mac, thank you. Tragedy in Houston after a child drowned in a hotel pool. Saturday, an 8-year-old girl drowned after getting sucked into a pipe while swimming in a hotel pool. Authorities first reported her as missing, but after a search crew reviewed security footage, they found she went underwater and did not resurface. That's when they drained the pool and sent a camera almost 20 feet into one of the pool's pipes. It took nearly 13 hours to recover the girl's body. An investigation is now underway. A 5-year-old boy is identified as one of the victims in the school bus crash in Bastrop County last Friday. Hayes Consolidated ISD reports Ulysses Montoya died as a result of injuries suffered in the field trip school bus accident. An elementary school pre-K bus was struck by a cement truck that swerved into the bus's lane of traffic. The regular school day for that elementary school was canceled today.
Most devastating things I've ever been through is that time frame right there, not knowing if my daughter's okay.
Crisis and trauma counselors were available for students and staff members on a voluntary basis. Hundreds of people marched in downtown Dallas against Senate Bill 4, which would allow local police to arrest people suspected of crossing into the U.S. illegally. Sunday's march lasted for more than an hour. An appeals court will decide whether SB 4 can go into effect. The court has another hearing coming up, but it's unclear when there will be a decision. Former President Donald Trump in court today for a hearing in the hush money payment case involving adult actress Stormy Daniels. And at the same time, an appeals court lowered the amount of money he needs to post in his $464 million civil fraud case.
A pivotal day in court for former President Donald Trump in 2 cases against him. A New York judge finalizing a trial date of April 15th in the hush money case involving adult actress Stormy Daniels.
Should have been started 3 years ago if they were going to start it at all. And then you wouldn't be quibbling over what week it's going to end, days. They're quibbling over days and hours. I don't know how you can have a trial that's going on right in the middle of an election. Not fair.
Defense attorneys were arguing for more time after more evidence was turned over by prosecutors, but the judge saying prosecutors are not at fault for the late production of documents. Trump pleading not guilty last year to charges of falsifying business records related to his hush money payment to Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 election. Meanwhile, in Trump's civil fraud case, a New York appellate court ordering that Trump only needs to post a $175 million bond for the $500 million judgment.
I greatly respect the decision of the appellate division, and I'll post either $175 million in cash or bonds or security or whatever is necessary very quickly within the 10 days.
It comes after Trump's lawyers argued the original amount was a practical impossibility.
One source just said to me, we got everything we wanted. They are very surprised by this ruling and very grateful for it.
The massive judgment issued by Judge Arthur Engoron in February, finding that Trump and his sons Don Jr. and Eric had committed a decade of fraud by inflating their assets to obtain better business deals. Trump's lawyers say he tried securing the full amount, but more than 30 underwriters turned him down. Trump and his sons have denied all wrongdoing and have appealed the ruling. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Monday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu canceled a planned diplomatic delegation trip to Washington, D.C. 2 of Netanyahu's top advisors were set to arrive in Washington, but Netanyahu canceled the trip after the U.S. did not veto a UN Security Council resolution that called for a ceasefire and the release of all hostages from Gaza. This comes after President Biden last week voiced what he called deep concerns during a phone call with Netanyahu over Israel's plans for a ground offensive in Rafah. The Gaza Ministry of Health reports that 107 people were killed over the past 24 hours in the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Ministry says the total death toll in Gaza since October 7th now stands at well over 32,000. An additional 74,000 plus people have been injured. Governments and UN agencies warn that famine is set to break out in northern Gaza sometime between mid-March and May. As part of the Loop 463 bridge widening construction project, TxDOT reports there will be nightly road closures on Loop 463 from U.S. Highway Business 59 to Lone Tree Road. The closures start Tuesday and will run through Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. Northbound traffic will be detoured onto Lone Tree Road to John Stockbauer Drive to Business 59. Southbound traffic will be detoured onto the frontage roads using the exit ramp for Business 59. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. Stay with us. In Florida, a bill banning social media for children under 14 is signed by Governor Ron DeSantis. That's coming up on 25 News Now at 6. Also ahead, Chick-fil-A says they are ditching their no antibiotics promise. Their reasons why, next. Requests for abortion pills surged after the U.S. Supreme Court reversed Roe v. Wade. The study in the medical journal JAMA shows in the 6 months after the 2022 Dobbs decision, there were about 26,000 more self-managed medication abortions than previously expected. Self-managed abortions typically happen outside the traditional healthcare system without the formal supervision of a doctor or nurse. Elon Musk's lawsuit targeting a watchdog group for its critical reports about hate speech on X was tossed out in federal court. A federal judge blasted X's case. X's lawsuit had accused the Center for Countering Digital Hate of violating the company's terms of service. X has blamed the center's reports for driving advertisers away from the site. In the suit, X claimed that it had suffered tens of millions of dollars in damages from the publications. X says it plans to appeal. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill into law banning social media accounts for children under the age of 14. Now, under the law, 15 and 16-year-olds in Florida can get social media accounts with parental consent. DeSantis says the bill gives parents a greater ability to protect their children. The bill, set to go into effect on January 1st, is expected to face legal challenges from the tech industry. And here's your viewer poll. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. Here's the question: do you believe that banning social media for children under 14 will protect them? Yes or no? Let's look at the numbers. You see them there. 69% of the voters say yes. 31% say no. We thank you for voting. We want to hear your opinion. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we will have an update on 25 News now at 10. A massive storm is slamming the plains with a blanket of snow from Colorado to Minnesota through Tuesday. But now is not the time many want to be thinking about blizzards. They have their minds on warmer climates.
San Francisco.
How's it looking?
So far, so good. It's on time.
As the snow fell outside MSP Airport.
I'm so excited. I hate the snow. I want the beach. I want the hot weather. We're ready to go.
Travelers check their flight status.
I checked it a couple of times.
Again.
I've been looking all day and it said our flight was on time.
And again.
As soon as we got in, I looked at the board and I was like, oh my gosh, we made the right choice by coming home earlier.
If you couldn't tell by the hat, AJ Lindell just got back from Florida.
I mean, when you go down to Orlando, you have to have some Florida style, so.
He got in just ahead of a slew of cancellations and delays.
They had originally booked us on a later flight, leaving at like 10 o'clock, getting in at about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I had no desire to end up coming here at 1 o'clock and trying to fight the snow on the roads.
It wasn't smooth sailing for everyone. This family from South Africa said they've been traveling since Friday and may not be able to make it to Montana until Tuesday now. MSP says 2 winter operation teams are working around the clock with the goal of maintaining flight operations on at least 2 runways. The ultimate flight decisions, though, come down to the airlines.
It sucks when you come to the airport and and you look at every flight that you're trying to go to is canceled. It's just, there's nothing you can do about it, but it's the weather.
Weather that's a little too cold for this Californian.
It gets below 50 degrees. I have my seat warmers on too.
So you're getting out just in time, hopefully.
I am very happy to be getting out of here. Spring break.
For some, but others, a wintry welcome home.
We can roll with the Florida hat for the rest of the year. That would be great.
Chick-fil-A is doing away with its no antibiotics ever promise. The fast food giant will now use a looser industry standard, no antibiotics important to human medicine, citing diminishing chicken supply. Chick-fil-A first pledged never to serve chicken that was fed antibiotics. In 2014, 10 years ago, antibiotic use in food is under intense scrutiny because certain bacterial infections in humans had become increasingly treatment resistant because of more frequent exposure to the drugs. The Powerball drawing is tonight. Its grand prize worth is estimated at $800 million, making it the 6th largest in game history, and is offering an estimated cash value of over $384 million. If there is no jackpot winner in tonight's Powerball drawing, the grand prize for Wednesday's drawing will roll to an estimated $865 million. This is the game's largest prize since the January 1st drawing, where Non-Texas player won an $842 million jackpot prize.
Yeah, that reminds me what I got to do for dinner, okay? Get my ticket. Well, folks, it's 78 degrees. Sunshine came out. We had a little sprinkle around here, around the area this morning, but that's all gone. Now we'll take a look at your entire week of Easter week. All that weather coming up in just a few minutes. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. As I mentioned, 78 degrees right now. We only got up to 79 today once the sun showed up. I mean, you know, this morning it was cloudy and it was humid and all that. And then the little rain came through, dropped a few hundredths of an inch of rain, but nothing substantial. But then all of that has changed as the north wind has brought in some very dry air. It's going to be very comfortable, very pleasant for the next couple of days. 200ths is what we officially got at the airport, bringing our month to 1.93 and our year since January 1 to 1276. Well, there it is. The storm is now racing up toward Louisiana and Arkansas, where they're actually getting a lot of severe weather right now. When you see that strong red line there, they're getting severe thunderstorms and a tornado threat as well. Out to the west of us, you can see a kind of a little popcorn cloud cover. That is good. That is unstable air that's getting a little cool weather back there, but it's just not going to produce any kind of precipitation for us. In fact, slowly but surely, we're looking at our winds getting drier and drier. As a result, out in the West Texas or Southwest Texas, they have a red flag warning for the potential of high fire danger. There's our little line. You see that line? That's the little rain that came through. I mean, it looked more menacing than that if you were up early, but otherwise 200s is all we got. I'm sure that Gonzales got more, and so did Hallettsville, because it seemed a little bit heavier up in that area. Tonight, as I mentioned, the big problems are in Louisiana and Mississippi, where severe weather is breaking out. In the red, that is severe thunderstorm warnings, and that is occurring even as we speak. It only seems to be getting stronger, so I would not be surprised if we have the reports of several tornadoes in that area overnight or in the next few hours. This is our rainfall. You can see in the dark green, barely a trace to less than half an inch, so it wasn't much, but it was something, and we're happy for it. I was driving around the area, and of course all the corn plants are doing so well. They're so happy. You know, they're just growing out there in the moisture and in the sunshine. Next few days will be very pleasant. Now, here's our big low. That's the one causing all the stormy and snowy weather in the Midwest. It is going to be rolling eastward by tomorrow and then further eastward by the next day. As far as we're concerned, we're going to see a few little clouds sort of drift through the area, but with that northwest wind, it keeps us on the cool side. But as we get to Thursday and then Friday, like Good Friday, and of course Holy Saturday, and then Easter Sunday, we're looking at temperatures getting up into the 80s. Yes, it's going to be very nice as we head on into the weekend. 81 tomorrow's high in Corpus Christi, 75 for us. So as I mentioned, just that north wind keeping us on the cool side. Those of you in Port Lavaca, lots of sunshine, getting up to about 75 tomorrow. In Cuero, lots of sunshine as well, getting up to only about 72. And then as we look at our extended outlook, looking good, nice and cool through Thursday. Then on Friday, the old south wind kicks in, starts getting rather windy, but it will be also more humid, partly cloudy, and temperatures moving up into the 80s as we get into Easter weekend. That's your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Don.
Thank you, Mac. And Zach Brown has your sports. Zach, I feel very fortunate that I still have a voice after last night's wild game between the Aggies and my Houston Cougars.
No, you're absolutely right. A wild inning had Don Brubaker sweating last night. A shot at the Sweet 16 on the line. I'll have that in sports. NFL owners meetings today in Florida. We've got a rule change that's been a long time coming. The change was passed unanimously. The hip drop tackle will no longer be legal. That particular tackle has always been considered dangerous. If you don't know what that is, that's the same type of tackle that destroyed Dak Prescott's ankle a few years ago. It also claimed Tony Pollard in the January 2023 loss to the Niners in the playoffs.
For us, we've spent a lot of work on this tackle. We came last year close to saying maybe it was time to put a rule in. We wanted to see, is the technique going to continue? Do we have a problem? And the answer is yes and yes.
They did say this could be tough to rule on the field. It is not every hip drop tackle, just a swivel hip drop tackle where the player grabs and then unweights himself as he falls on the player's legs. In Memphis, Houston led Texas A&M by double digits with only 90 seconds remaining. An unbelievable steal and quick three cuts it to a single-digit game. They kept chipping away and had the ball with only 1.2 remaining, forced overtime on an unreal clutch three, but in overtime, the Cougs prevail. They are headed to the Sweet 16. They will take on Duke. Over at the beautiful Riverside Golf Course, we had some district golf going on east and west there, along with a host of the Corpus schools. The girls finished a lot earlier than the boys. This was day one of the two-day event. For day one, the East boys as a team shot a combined 348, which would be good enough for second behind Veterans Memorial. The West boys shot 390, but David Villegas shot a decent 87. On the girls' side, the Veterans Memorial girls dominated on that side as well. The Victoria West girls finished third on the day, and the East ladies finished fourth. Day two begins tomorrow at about 8 a.m. and will go until around 2 p.m. Victoria East, by the way, going back to the girls, Jade McIntosh shot 91. Harper Edwards had the second best score of any girl on the day with a solid 73. Tomorrow, the Victoria West girls will have their playoff matchup against Palmview in Corpus. This is a team that's returned almost every one of the girls are hoping the continuity of playing together another year is a recipe for a deeper playoff run.
As we get ready to go into this year's round of playoffs, we know that we need to have better communication from the back line, and we need to create more opportunities whenever we have them.
I feel like knowing my team and us knowing each other is what our biggest strength is. As this entire team, we know each other, we connect, we have relationships outside of soccer too, so just knowing each other really helps on and off the field.
And the Victoria East boys getting ready to kick off, or I guess drop the ball in about 30 minutes over in Corpus as well. That's it for your sports. Don, back to you.
Zach, thank you. We're back in a moment. The annual Kentucky Derby Museum Hat Show in Louisville helps kick off Derby season with some style. Tonight, Kentucky Derby season kicked off with the annual Derby Museum Hat Show. Every year, the Hat Show gives a preview of the latest trends you can expect to see this year at Churchill Downs. The show features 5 hat makers who get to show off some of their favorite pieces on the runway. After the show, attendees can try on some of their designs. The 150th Run for the Roses is expected to bring in a combination of traditional styles and new twists on the historic fashion. That's why anyone who takes part in that or goes to the Derby never runs for political office, because if they tried to throw their hat in the ring, they'd injure themselves. I mean, look at that. I mean, my gosh, it's huge. I mean, they could pull something.
The
in
turkeys
there.
are going, oh no, they want feathers. Oh,
Oh, like that one? Oh, my.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, man. How would you like to be at the Derby and sitting behind?
Oh, now that would be a problem.
Oh, that could be an issue.
Now you get some cutters and start cutting, some shears and start cutting through it.
Who won? I bet on that race. I can't see through the
I can't
hat.
see.
Well,
There's a potted plant in front of me.
Yes. Well, you do a better job of forecasting weather than we do forecasting horse races.
I appreciate that. And this morning we had a few sprinkles around the area, but that is all gone. It's been replaced by a dry northwest wind, so we're looking at some very comfortable evenings and a very couple of nice days all the way through Thursday. And then as we get to Friday and the weekend, which is of course Easter weekend, it's going to start warming up into the mid 80s. So, but weather's looking good all the way through the week.
All right. Thank you, Mac. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tonight, 25 News Now at 10.